half an hour to 35 minutes. So the flow of the presentation would be what exactly is the goal setting? Why do we build a long-term investment portfolio? What is the need for building an investment portfolio? What all we have to keep in mind when you have to build a long-term investment portfolio? How do you do that? So basically, what is the asset allocation? So what are the different types of investment portfolios? We would be talking about that. Since I belong to direct equity space, I would be talking more about the equity portfolios, so different types of equity portfolios. Uh, how do we, take care of the sectoral diversification as far as the equity portfolios are concerned? What are the preferred stocks and sectors? And how do we build a model portfolio in the current market scenario? And then finally, we would be talking about monitoring and evaluating the portfolio periodically. And then eventually, we will see about the question and answers. If at all there are any, I would love to answer them. So the first basic question which comes to our mind is whether investment is an art or science. So many people think that it is an art. Many people think it is science. So what exactly is investment? So honestly, let us go through the presentation, and then probably at the end of the presentation, we will again revisit this question and we will try to answer whether it is art or whether it is science. Okay, so coming down to the goal setting. So basically, why we want to build a long-term investment portfolio? See, I have kept my presentation very simple so that all the participants can easily understand what is the idea behind this particular presentation. So obviously, as I told you, everyone has a goal in his life. Whatever savings we have to use them in future. So obviously, planning is needed. So why that planning is needed? Why a long-term investment portfolio is needed? So obviously, someone might want to buy a house in future. Maybe someone wants to buy a car. Uh, Children's education is there. Long-term एक aim होता है लोगों का. For a foreign trip also people save money, and there are travel plans which are made for next 10 years, 20 years. So accordingly, you need funds for that. Obviously, for that you have to save money. Retirement planning, yes, one very important thing. I mean, you are working today, but 20 years down the line, what exactly would be the situation, no one knows. So obviously you have to save, and for your future you have to do a proper retirement planning. And obviously tax planning is always there. So depending upon how much tax you are paying, where you can save the tax, etc., you have to design your portfolios accordingly. So as I told you, asset allocation, that is typically how do you build a long-term investment portfolio is very important before getting into where to invest and how to invest. So typically there are different kinds of asset classes. Okay, so we have fixed deposits. So there are government securities. There are RBI bonds. Okay, typically जो government के bonds होते हैं. Then there are mutual funds. Obviously, uh, as far as direct equity is concerned, that is investing into direct stocks. That is one asset class again, which typically comes into the equity as an asset class. So mutual funds, PMS, that is portfolio management services. These days, high net worth individuals, they invest through AIFs, that is alternative investment funds, wherein the size of the portfolios are 1 CR and plus. So that is again one bucket under equities. So equity per se is a very big asset class, which has sub asset classes. I mean sub divisions under it, like mutual funds. I mean you can invest into equities through mutual funds, PMS, AIF, or maybe a direct equity. That is the demat accounts which you have, and then you buy and sell the stocks on the broking platform. Apart from that, gold, obviously one of the very important asset class in India, especially. Every household in India has gold as an investment. And obviously, real estate is again one very important asset class, but not everyone can afford it as an investment asset class. So obviously, high net worth individuals or ultra high net worth individuals, corporates, they have investments into real estate. but it is one part of your investment. So there are so many avenues wherein you can put your money, put your savings, and build a good investment portfolio. But how much money to put where, that is very important thing. So how do you decide that कि मेरे को कहाँ पे कितना पैसा डालना है? So obviously, before doing the asset allocation, there are certain things, there are certain factors which you have to evaluate, and you have to ask yourself, before doing the asset allocation. So these are typically the time frame of the investment. For how much duration I want to invest my money is one of the basic important question which you have to ask yourself. Then you have to ask, what is the risk appetite of the individual? uh, what is the risk appetite of the individual? uh, कितना risk ले सकता हूँ मैं? Okay, if I am not very risk taking, then obviously I will have conservative investments. If I am okay to take a huge amount of risk, then obviously I might invest a huge portion into equities, where there is slightly more risk involved. So obviously, risk appetite is very, very important. Return objectives. What is the return that I'm expecting from a particular investment? Now, let's say, for example, if I'm investing into FDs, obviously I cannot expect 15% on a CAGR basis. That is on a per annum basis. Uh, Depending upon the interest rate scenario, probably you will end up getting 6 to 10%, depending upon whether you are investing into a bank FD or a corporate FD. So it makes very important thing to, first of all, uh, make sure how much returns you want to get from a particular investment. So if typically if you are looking for 15% or 20% kind of a per annum return, then obviously you have to choose equity as the investment asset class. And obviously, the final thing is diversification in the portfolio. Let's say, for example, I am ready to take a lot of risk, okay, and I'm ready to invest 100% into equities because I want to make 15 to 20% on an annual basis. But if I don't have any FDs, or if I'm not diversified into various asset class, and let's say something like 2020 happens, where this particular pandemic came, and the equity markets crashed by 40%. So that would be very, very risky because I don't have any other investments. And let's say if the markets were to underperform for next 2, 3, 4 years, then obviously the entire uh, planning would go for a toss. So that's the reason why it is very, very important to diversify your portfolio. You should not have all the eggs in one basket. So, as I told you, asset allocation is very, very important. So, I'll again repeat the same thing. I mean, time frame, when we say, you have to first of all ask yourself, do I need a regular cash flow? Let's say if I'm investing into some asset class, and whether I will require cash flow on a regular basis. Let's say there is a family who has children, and they have the needs for their education, and accordingly they will have to invest so that every year they get some or the other money coming in from their investments. So that thing you have to identify, or whether I don't need the money on a yearly basis, but lump sum after 5 years I need money. मेरे को हर साल नहीं चाहिए, तो accordingly you have to uh, uh, invest into such asset classes. So do I need lump sum money to meet my specific need? Do I wish to build assets for future? Again, that is very, very important. Let's say if I'm a businessman, if I'll need let's say 2 CR or maybe 5 CR 3 years down the line for building up or maybe enhancing my business. So all that planning you have to do. So time frame is very, very important. When will you need the money? Risk appetite, again, as I told you, how much risk am I willing to take? Am I willing to accept the fluctuations in investment value or even short-term losses in order to achieve the long-term potential gains? So as I told you last year, let's say the markets crashed by 40%, but uh, within 1.5 years, the markets from the lows of last year, that is March, they are up by 120%. So whether I'm ready to take those fluctuations in my investment values, uh, my mark to market will go down, but eventually over a longer term period, I will make more money. So that you have to decide how much risk I'm ready to take, and then eventually you have to decide whether I am okay to take higher risk, or I'm okay to take less amount of risk. Again, return objective, how much return I'm expecting from a particular investment. As I told you, 15%, or maybe I'm happy with 6-7%, etc. And obviously diversification. So is my portfolio well diversified to meet my return expectations over a specified period of time, keeping in mind my risk profile? So that is very, very important. As I told you, diversification plays a very important role to meet your overall needs. Okay. So now, depending upon how much money you want to put where, we have three different types of investment portfolios. Now there is an aggressive portfolio, there is a balanced portfolio, and there is a conservative portfolio. So now, what do we understand by aggressive portfolio? So aggressive portfolio is nothing but typically you are ready to take more amount of risk, and you are ready to put roughly 80% of your money into equities. So now when we say equities, you can invest through mutual funds, PMS, AIF, or direct demat accounts हो सकते हैं आपके, and you can invest directly into the stock market. So 80% of your savings or your money will go into equity, and only 20% will go into debt. So now when we say debt, these are typically, as I told you, the fixed deposits or the government bonds, RBI bonds, government securities. So obviously you will get less amount of returns from this 20% of your investment, and you will make more amount of money from your 80% of your investments. But obviously the risk associated is again on the higher side. So that's the reason why we call it as the aggressive portfolio. Balanced portfolio is typically wherein 60% goes into equity and 40% goes into debt. So you are not wanting to take a lot of risk, and you are okay with having uh, balanced portfolio and balanced returns over a period of time. And conservative portfolio typically has 40% into equity and 60% into debt. So this clearly shows that I really don't want to take risk, and I'm okay with earning less, but at the same time, uh, consistently and uh, matlab, a fixed amount of money I'll get over a period of time. So typically, all those people who are 60 plus age, that is senior citizen, they would not want to take risk because probably they are not working, they are not into business, and they only have a set of savings which they have earned over a period of time, and they want to preserve it. So that's where the conservative portfolio comes into picture, where 60% of your money goes into debt. So since I belong to the direct equity space, so I would be talking more on the equity portfolios, wherein I would be taking you through what are the different types of equity portfolios, how do you build equity portfolios, what all factors you have to keep in mind when you are building equity portfolios, different types of equity portfolios like short term, medium term, long term, etc. Uh, Definitely, as an investor, you have to have debt into your portfolio. But since I am not an expert on that front, and as I told you that if you are a conservative or a balanced or an aggressive investor, you can accordingly plan your investments within equity and debt, between equity and debt. So which I have already gone through. So there are many other experts as far as debt portfolio is concerned, and you can consult them if you are not an expert in that particular space. As far as equity is concerned, I'll take you along through this particular presentation, wherein I hope this would be helpful to you. So, what are the different types of equity portfolios? So, there are three types of equity portfolios. One is short term, medium term, and the third one is long term equity portfolio. So, typically, short term equity portfolios are designed for several days to several months. Okay, so let's say several days to 6 months. Obviously, high risk is associated with this kind of portfolio. Why? Because you are just investing for a shorter amount of time, and obviously, you cannot rule out the volatility which is involved in the equity portfolio. Medium term portfolios are typically those which are designed for a time frame of 6 months to 1 year. So, high to moderate risk is associated with this kind of equity portfolio. Obviously, because you are buying some more time as compared to the shorter term equity portfolios. And long term equity portfolios are typically those ones which are designed for a time frame of more than 1 year. Now, here the risk associated is a moderate to low risk, Obviously, why? Because you are buying a huge amount of time. I mean, long period of time. So let's say your vision is to build a portfolio for next 5 years, and you are not going to look at the short-term volatilities, like something like what happened last year. If you had stayed calm, patient enough to hold on to your investments, then you would have made huge amount of money, because many stocks have moved up in the range of 100% to 600% in last 1.5 year. So if your time horizon increases, your risk associated goes down. Again, SIP is one of the best tools for building up the long-term equity portfolios. I mean, month on month, you just keep on adding to good quality stocks in your portfolio in the form of SIP, and you can build a very good equity portfolio. So, uh, long-term equity portfolios. Now, within long-term equity portfolios, there are different types of portfolios. Okay, let's say the first one is large cap equity portfolio. Then there is a mid cap equity portfolio, small cap equity portfolio, and a multi cap equity portfolio. So let's go through each one of them in brief. So large cap equity portfolios are typically all those portfolios wherein the market cap of the companies which are present in that portfolio is more than 35,000 crores. So these portfolios have bigger companies, okay, within them, which have evolved over a period of time and are robust in nature, and usually they have strong balance sheets. So examples are Reliance Industries, TCS, Infosys, Bajaj Finance, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank. Typically, all those companies which have a more than 35,000 crore market cap, which have been into existence for many years, which have gone through many turmoils in past, but still they have uh, stood strong enough with strong balance sheets and have robust, balance sheet and nature. So even if something like a pandemic happens, wherein the markets crashes, but again these companies come up very sharply. So these are the large cap equity portfolios. Now, mid-cap equity portfolios are the ones which have the companies within them, which have the market cap ranging between 10,000 crore to 35,000 crores. So obviously, the size of the companies are less than 35,000 crores, so they are smaller in size. So these are typically the mid-cap companies where you know the companies are smaller in size, and over a period of time they have the potential to become big and grow big. So at one point in time, let's say Bajaj Finance was a mid cap, and then eventually, as and when the business went on increasing, it became a large cap. So I remember 12, 13 years back, it was a mid-cap company. It was not a part of Nifty, and then eventually, year on year, it did phenomenal business. The business grew, the market share grew, the market cap grew, and it became a large cap today. So that's where there are many such companies which are smaller in size, and they can do very well in future, and become eventually large caps. But again, there are many companies which do not do well, and from mid cap they become smaller in size even further. There are many examples like Unitech, Suzlon, Punj Lloyd, which were typically large caps 10, 15 years back. But unfortunately, because the promoters were not that great, because the business models were not that great, uh, and we saw a lot of selling happening in these stocks. The business did not do well, and eventually from large cap they became mid cap, and then eventually they become even smaller and become small caps. So obviously you have to be very very uh, you know uh, uh, selective as far as the mid cap equity portfolios are concerned, because the risk associated is much on the higher side as compared to the large cap equity portfolios, because the companies are smaller and in the nascent stage. You have to be very very selective. Now, small cap equity portfolios are typically those wherein the market cap is less than 10,000 crores. So basically, these are the smallest companies which are available in the market in the listed space. So obviously, the risk associated with these portfolios are much much higher than the mid cap and the large cap equity portfolios. But again, there are companies which do phenomenally well and they eventually grow and become a mid-sized company and then eventually a large cap company. And again, here there are such companies also which really don't do well and they actually get delisted or they vanish. So again, the risk associated is very, very higher on this small cap equity portfolio. So the best portfolio probably which one can design is a multi-cap equity portfolio. So what happens here is you have large cap names in the portfolio, you have mid and small cap names also in varied proportion. So risk is well diversified in this portfolio and the return expectation can also be high. So what typically happens is you can have a multi-cap portfolio with let's say 50% into large caps, 30% into mid caps, and let's say 20% into small caps. So something like uh, those companies where we have the where we know that the potential for those small cap companies is very very huge to become huge and large in future. You can have 20% allocation towards those companies. Again, you can select 30% of the mid-sized companies wherein we have good visibility over next 3, 5, 10 years कि बॉस ये कंपनी आगे जाके बहुत अच्छा करने वाली है and it will become a large cap eventually. So your 50% goes into mid and small cap combined, and your 50% remains into large cap, which are typically the evolved companies already. But having said that, they have further potential to become even larger. So classic examples are TCS, Reliance Industries. 5 years back, TCS was a 5 lakh crore market cap company. Today it is a more than I think 11, 12 lakh crore market cap company. Reliance Industries was a 5 lakh crore market cap company sometime back, and today it is a 15 lakh crore market cap company. So it's not that only the mid and small cap companies will grow and become larger in future, but uh, the large cap companies themselves have huge potential because they are doing phenomenally well and they can grow from 5 lakh crore market cap to 10 lakh to 15 lakh to 20 lakh eventually. No one knows Reliance Industries probably will become a 30 lakh crore market cap company 4 years down the line. So that is the potential of these large cap companies. So the whole thing which I'm trying to say is multi-cap portfolios are the best ones to have in your portfolios because you are catering to large caps, select mid caps, and small caps, wherein we have huge growth potential going forward. So again, now within the long-term equity portfolio, sectoral diversification is very, very important. Let's say if I'm building a large cap portfolio, or let's say a mid cap or a small cap portfolio, or to that matter, a multi-cap portfolio. But what all stocks do I select? From which sectors do I select? I can have 100% allocation in a Infosys. Let's say अगर मेरे को 1 करोड़ का portfolio बनाना है, मैंने 1 करोड़ का Infosys ले लिया. God forbid if something happens to the company and some whistleblower news comes out or some management change happens and the market takes it in a negative way, the stock can crash by 30, 40, 50%. So there is no risk diversion. So obviously, to avoid this particular phenomena, you have to have a good sectoral diversification. I mean, you cannot invest everything into IT. You cannot invest everything into FMCG or automobiles or any one particular sector. So having a good diversified portfolio is very, very important. So you should have something from automobile, banking, NBFC, FMCG, retail, oil and gas, telecom, IT, pharma, capital goods, cement, metals. Depending upon what is the trend in the market, depending upon which sectors are looking favorable for next 6 months, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year horizon, accordingly, you have to select the stocks from various sectors. Again, it is very important to have a good percentage allocation across various sectors which you have decided to invest into. Also, one very important thing to notice: over diversification can reduce your target portfolio returns. That is one very important thing which typically each and every investor does. Today at Motilal Oswal, we do a lot of portfolio restructuring. So when we get the portfolios of the clients, we see that there are 150 stocks. We see there are 80 stocks. I mean, it becomes very difficult to, uh, uh, participate into the equity markets having so many huge number of stocks. Why? Because it is absolutely impossible to track each and every stock in the portfolio. I mean, if you have 150, एक तो याद भी नहीं रहेगा कि मेरे पास ये स्टॉक पड़ा है कि नहीं. that is absolutely not how you build a equity portfolio. So I'll talk about this, how many stocks you should have from which sector, and depending upon the size of the portfolio. So advisable thing is you should typically have 15 to 20 number of stocks in a good diversified portfolio across sectors. So before building a good model portfolio, I'll just run you through an example, two examples rather. So these were the live portfolios. Last year, I had taken this particular set of portfolio when the markets had actually gone down, after the pandemic had started. So you can see that there are roughly 35 or 35 to 40 stocks in this portfolio. And if you look at the percentage returns when the market had crashed in the month of March 2020, the portfolio had gone down by 57%. Okay. Now, the markets had crashed, that is Nifty, broader index had crashed by 40%, and this portfolio had gone down by 57%, which clearly shows that this portfolio had underperformed the broader index. Okay. Now let's go to the second portfolio. Now, this particular portfolio, again, during the same time when the markets had crashed by 40%, this particular portfolio, again, this has around 35 to 40 stocks in the portfolio, but this portfolio is down only 16% as compared to the market, which was down 40%. So now let's look at the key takeaways. Portfolio one was a mid-cap portfolio. Now the number of stocks were 35 to 40, which is obviously on the higher side because, as I told you, a good diversified portfolio should not have more than 15 to 20 names. This particular portfolio, there was no proper allocation across sectors and individual stocks. So if you look at this portfolio, the percentage allocation is absolutely lacking. There are stocks worth 2 lakhs or 72,000. There are stocks which are having investments of 81 lakhs, 41 lakhs. So there is no proper allocation of funds. Now, if you look at this portfolio, so what happened to this portfolio? The portfolio was down by 57% and it underperformed the mid cap index. And second portfolio, again, it is a multi-cap portfolio. The first one was a mid-cap portfolio. Now this multi-cap portfolio, it has 35 to 40 stocks. Obviously, again, it is on the higher side, but the allocation across sectors and individual stocks is much better as compared to the portfolio one. So if you look at this portfolio, there are investments to the tune of 45 lakhs, 39 lakhs, 35 lakhs, 34 lakhs. So equally, we can say that the investments are done across stocks. The quality of stocks are much better. There are more fundamental sound companies in this portfolio as compared to portfolio one. So what is the result? The result is, because the markets were down, portfolio was also down, but portfolio was down by only 16%, and it outperformed the broader index because there was a diversification across sectors and it was present across large, mid, and small cap companies. So this is a very, very important observation, that you should have a good diversified portfolio, that is a multi-cap portfolio at any given point in time. So now the question is, how do you build a good portfolio? So obviously, it is very important to select stocks in the portfolio. So individual investor, he typically has two options, okay, to build the portfolio. Either he can do it on his own. Why? Because he might have good past experience and he might himself be a finance graduate. He might have a good knowledge of the market. He might have done some courses into fundamental analysis, and he's good at picking stocks, good at reading the balance sheets of the company, the annual reports. He understands the return ratios. He understands various types of things which are involved into picking up stocks. So if he has that expertise, definitely he can do it on his own. But if he does not have that expertise, I mean, there are so many people in India who don't have any knowledge as far as the investment, as far as equity is concerned. So how do they build a portfolio? So obviously they can approach the experts like us, who have the expertise of building the portfolios for the investors, keeping in mind what is their risk profile, what is the time horizon for which they are wanting to invest into equities. So we can help them, build a good portfolio depending upon the time frame which they are looking out for. If he's a short-term trader, we will suggest him a short-term portfolio. If he's looking out for a positional trade, we will ask him to build a good medium-term portfolio. if he is a long-term investor, we will ask him to build a good long-term portfolio. So we have various investment products. We have a good PMS team. We have a good mutual fund team. We have advisors on the direct equity platform who will guide you and suggest you which stocks to buy and how to build a good portfolio. So obviously there are two ways: either you do it on your own, or you consult an expert like Motilal Oswal. So we have taken a example of building a long-term model portfolio. So if you look at this particular portfolio, there are 14 stocks, only 14 stocks in the portfolio, and we have selected the stocks from large cap space, from the mid cap space, and from the small cap space also. So if you see the sectoral allocation, you will get a good idea that this is how you bifurcate within various sectors. मतलब हर एक sector का थोड़ा थोड़ा होना चाहिए, and depending upon the market trend, which sectors are favorable, probably you can allocate more towards those sectors. And again, depending upon the market cap, large cap, if you are a conservative investor, probably you can have 80% into large cap, 15% into mid cap, and 5% into small cap. Now, it's not necessary कि ये, this is always fixed, and there is a rule that you have to stick to this allocation. Not at all. If you are more aggressive, if you are ready to take more risk, then this 80% can go down to 60%. And mid caps can go up to 25 to 30%, and small cap can go up to 10 to 15%. So it all depends upon what amount of risk you are ready to take. So when we build portfolios for our clients at Motilal Oswal, we first of all define these things as to the particular investor hai, how much amount of risk he is ready to take, what is the time frame he is looking at. Uh, and after that, we will suggest him, we will identify whether he's an aggressive investor, whether he's a balanced kind of an investor, or a very conservative investor. And then we will, ask him to build a portfolio which suits his investment style. So this is typically an example of an, let's say, a conservative investor who would want to stick to large cap names. So we have taken 80% into large cap, 15 and 5 respectively percentages into mid and small caps. Again, here we have given the sectoral allocation, which will give you that FMCG में 20% है. So we have taken HUL from the FMCG space, and we have taken Asian Paints, and we have taken a mid cap name like Tata Consumer from the FMCG space. So overall, एक छोटा कंपनी आ गया FMCG में, and दो बड़े कंपनीज आ गए. So it takes to you to 20%. So likewise, you can select from large cap, mid cap, small cap space within those sectors also. So that's how you build a good diversified equity portfolio. So once you have built a good portfolio, it is very, very, very important to monitor it periodically and evaluate जहाँ पे आपने invest किया है, whether it is a right investment or not, or you have to stick to that investment for a longer period of time. So how will you do that? Obviously, you have to monitor what is happening in the market, what is the market intelligence saying, what is happening globally. There are so many sectors, there are so many companies which get affected by global news every day. So typically you have to evaluate your portfolios periodically. Let's say एक महीने में एक बार मैंने देख लिया, if I'm a long term investor, मैंने glance कर लिया, or maybe every quarter I'll go through my portfolio if there are any changes needed. What has been the impact of let's say COVID or any other China issue or US related issue on my portfolio, on any particular stock in my portfolio. So if I feel that next एक साल के लिए particular company ज़्यादा कुछ perform नहीं करेगी, then I'll have to take a conscious call and I have to remove that particular stock from my portfolio and switch over to someone else. So monitoring is very, very important. Obviously, if you are a short-term or a medium-term investor, you don't have much time frame with you because you are a trader or you are a short-term investor. So you will devote larger amount of time in your portfolio, and maybe on a weekly basis or on a daily basis you will keep checking your portfolios. Obviously, from a short-term perspective, you have to keep stop losses also, because the volatility over a shorter term period is much on the higher side as compared to the volatility over a longer period of time. So you can there will be knee-jerk reactions if something happens in the in a particular stock. If there are any adverse news, then the stock might fall down by 6, 7, or maybe 10% in a day's time. So whether you are ready to take that risk, whether you are ready to keep a stop loss and exit if you are a short-term investor. So obviously, all those monitoring and evaluations you have to do. So as I told you, the laggards have to be removed in the portfolio. Many a times it happens that I have some view on a particular stock and I buy it for next, let's say, 3 years or a 5-year horizon. But quarter on quarter, the numbers are not coming as per the expectation. The company is not doing good. So maybe 1 quarter, 2 quarter, 3 quarters, you will give some time to that particular company. But if that stock price is not moving, if it is not coming back on the upside, then obviously you have to take some conscious call at certain time and then evaluate whether it is prudent to keep that particular stock in the portfolio, or may I move over to something else in the same sector. So obviously, evaluation is very, very important. So that's important after you build a good equity portfolio. So more or less, that's all from my side. This is how you build a portfolio, evaluate, monitor, build the large, small, medium-term portfolios. So that's primarily the basic things which any investor has to keep in mind when they are building the portfolios. So that's all from my side, guys. I will be happy to take any questions if you have. Okay, so there are few questions. So finally, there is a very good question. In the beginning of the presentation, I had asked whether investment is an art or science. So someone is asking whether it is art or science now. So after this particular presentation, I'm sure you all will agree with me that investment is not only art and not only science, but it is a combination of art and science. So basically, it is a combination of art as well as science. There is one more question: how to purchase a non-listed stocks? Say, for example, NSE, please suggest. So, see, these are the stocks which are not listed, and there is something called as pre-IPO also. So obviously, we don't cater to that particular segment, and there are experts at all the broking firms, also at Motilal Oswal, who typically cater to the pre-IPO deals. So you can consult such brokers and wealth managers. Um, and in case you are interested in the non-listed space, you can talk to them, and they would arrange on how to make an investment into such things. There is a question: when we are talking about direct equity investment, how can we use compounding? Is it right to buy same stock on higher price? So that is again a very interesting question. Uh, See, it all depends upon the performance of the company. Basically, stock price will go up only and only if a company is making profit. That is the bottom line, and that is a basic thing which every investor has to understand. Many people, they buy stocks, they hold the stocks for long period of time, and uh, honestly, many times it happens that the stocks largely underperform. And with the anticipation कि boss मेरा stock चलेगा चलेगा कभी ना कभी भाव आएगा, they lose on to other opportunities. So the bottom line is, if a company is doing good on a quarter on quarter basis, if it is generating revenues, if it is making profits, only then the compounding will happen. So depending upon the quarterly numbers, the yearly numbers, and many various other things, the compounding of a particular company will happen. So for that thing, for a stock to compound, let's say at 15% CAGR, the business model has to be great. The promoters have to be very sound. the competition has to be minimal in the market. So probably there are many companies where they have a monopolistic nature जहाँ पे उनके competitors बहुत कम है. So I'll just give you an example. Pidilite Industries, which is into adhesives and all those Fevicol, Fevistick, all those adhesives, uh, they have captured almost 70% of the market share in India. So अगर आज मैं फर्नीचर का काम कर रहा हूँ मेरे घर पे, तो मेरे दिमाग में फेविकॉल ही आ रहा है. मेरे को दूसरा कोई प्रोडक्ट ही नहीं पता जो मार्केट में अवेलेबल है जो फेविकॉल का सब्स्टिट्यूट है. So the idea is if they are market leaders and if they have captured the market by 70-80%, the competition is obviously not there. You know, so all such companies will keep compounding at more than 15%. So if you look at Pidilite Industries also, it has compounded at more than 18% for last 10 to 12 years. So let's say if 10 years back I had bought Pidilite at maybe 150 rupees, and today if it is trading at 2500 rupees, I will definitely go ahead and buy at 2500 also, because I know that next 10 साल के लिए भी वो अपना market share को बरकरार रखेगा, and it will do phenomenally well. Why? Because they are adopting a technology, they are upgrading themselves, uh, and I have the confidence that eventually it will become a 5000 rupees shop. I'm just throwing an example. So yes, definitely you can invest into the same stock at higher levels, provided the fundamentals are very sound, and I'm sure that the company will do good in coming years also. So again, there is one question on the non-listed stock, but I'm very sorry, but I'm not an expert on that front. So as I told you, you can consult your manager, equity manager, or your uh, wealth manager for the same. So there is one question. I want to take high risk and reward. Should I build small cap portfolio? Yes, definitely. See, if you are ready to take high risk, you can go ahead with a small cap portfolio. As I told you, these companies are very small in size. Okay. Now let's say so many IPOs have come in last 1 year. All these IPOs, all these companies typically they have been into existence for last 20 years. ये कंपनियों ने कुछ ना कुछ तो अच्छा किया होगा, एंड नाउ दे हैव द एबिलिटी टू come up in the public space, come up with an IPO, and they have the potential to grow bigger going forward in next 10 years, 20 years. But obviously, it is very, very important to understand the fundamentals of such companies which are getting listed. Why? Because uh, not every company will become as big as Reliance or a TCS. So you have to understand the fundamentals. You have to see their financials. You have to see their growth prospects, and then eventually invest into those companies. Yes, definitely these are smaller in nature today, and they will grow big, big, big. If only and only if they are doing good business and they are making profits. So ऐसा नहीं है कि आंख बंद करके मैंने कुछ भी खरीद लिया. So obviously that should not be the case. But yes, if you are building a good small cap portfolio with sound companies, definitely you can make a huge amount of money. There is one question: how do I diversify my portfolio in parts like long term, mid term, and short term? How can I connect with you to help in building? So that's again a very interesting question. How do I diversify my portfolio uh, in parts like long term, mid term, and short term? So see, diversification can be done in this space also. Let's say, for example, right now, if you have seen the markets, markets have corrected by 10% roughly from the highs of 18,600 on Nifty. So in this particular fall, banks have come down much higher as compared to the IT stocks. Okay. If you look at Infosys, if you look at Tech Mahindra, they have made a new 52-week high, or rather, a new all-time high. But at the same time, ICICI Bank has corrected by 15%. At the same time, DMart has corrected by 20%. At the same time, Kotak Mahindra Bank has corrected by 20-25%. So you have to identify the trends in the market. Let's say, for example, IT is doing good. Now in the second week of January, the Q3 numbers will start rolling in. There is an anticipation that IT companies will do very good because there is a complete shift now these days from physical to digital. So a lot of companies are, because of this pandemic, because of the lockdowns, because of the interruptions which they have seen in last 1.5 years, many companies are shifting from the physical nature to the digital nature. So obviously the IT sector will do very good because they are getting huge amount of uh, volumes in terms of the deals which they are getting. So from that perspective, from a shorter term period, you can allocate more towards the IT sector. You can allocate less towards the banking sector. So this is how you can diversify the portfolio from a long term, mid term, and short term play. Then there is one more question. Normally, how much percentage or of return, 12 or 15 or 20 or 25, can you expect from equity market? So again, as I told you, if you look at the historical returns, as far as equity markets are concerned, 15% is the benchmark. So last 20 years, if you look at the data, if you have made 15% on a year-on-year basis, then you have really done very well for yourself. Now, if you have made 18% for last 10 years or maybe last 15 years, then you have exceeded the market returns. So you have done actually 3% more than what the market is giving you. There are fund managers, there are people in the market who have given 20% returns also on a year-on-year basis for last 10 years. So it all depends upon how your portfolios have been built, what all allocation you have given into your portfolios. Let's say, for example, large cap, mid cap, small cap. Obviously, mid and small cap, as I told you, they have a huge potential to make the additional alpha, to give the additional alpha to your portfolio, because the companies are smaller in size, the risk associated is obviously larger. But if you have selected good companies with good business models, promoters, absolutely clean financials, then there is no way you can not earn more than 15, 20, 25%. So it all depends upon the selection of the stocks. Then there is one very interesting question. How do you apply the stop loss? So as I told you, if you are a short-term investor and if you are typically building portfolios from a shorter term period, let's say several days, several weeks to several months, then depending upon how much risk you are ready to take, you should apply the stop loss. Let's say, for example, if I have bought some stock at 100 rupees today, and I have a very clear mind that I don't want to lose more than 10 rupees on that stock, or maybe let's say 5 rupees on that stock. So you can keep a stop loss of 3 to 5 to 7% on that particular investment. And if that particular level comes, just don't have any emotional attachment towards that particular stock, and completely exit from that particular stock. So that is how you have to apply the stop loss: 3, 5, 7% on the downside. Uh, how much risk you are ready to take, how much loss you are ready to bear, and then accordingly you keep the stop loss. Again, you have to keep in mind what is the trend of the market, what is the trend of that particular sector from which you have picked up the stock. If the stock is looking very strong on charts, then obviously you can keep a 5-7% stop loss. If the stock is not looking very strong on the charts, then you can keep a 3% stop loss and exit initially. So that's how you typically keep the stop losses. There is one question that because of the low capital, my mentality is to buy stock which is below 200, so that I can get more quantity. Uh, is it right to buy that type of stocks in portfolio? So that's again a very good question. Typically, the retail investors do this. सस्ता stock होगा तो मैं ज़्यादा buy कर सकता हूँ. Absolutely, this mentality is very wrong. I'm sorry to use my words, but yes, you do not have to look at the stock price. You have to look at the fundamentals of the stock. uh, 5 रुपए वाला stock, 10 रुपए वाला stock, these are typically penny stocks. There are many stocks which are available at 200 rupees, 300 rupees, maybe at 100 rupees, but fundamentally they are very sound. So it's not that you have to look at the stock price, but you have to look at the financials. So that's where I had mentioned in my presentation also कि अगर आपको खुद को नहीं समझ में आ रहा कि क्या बाय करना है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि मैं सस्ता बाय कर लूंगा. क्योंकि मेरे को बहुत सारा क्वांटिटी मिलेगा। अगर आपने कुछ 5 रुपए वाला या 10 रुपए वाला स्टॉक खरीद लिया, अगर आपके पास 50,000 रुपया है, आपका क्वांटिटी तो बड़ा आ जाएगा, बट इफ द मार्केट क्रैशेस, ऑल दीज पेनी स्टॉक्स विल बी द फर्स्ट वंस टू क्रैश, तो आपका वो 50,000 तो वाइप ऑफ हो जाएगा। So this is not the way you have to pick up a stock. That's the reason why I had mentioned in my portfolio that you have to select good quality stocks, fundamentally sound stocks, rather than just आंख बंद करके कुछ भी खरीद लिया। Yeah, so there is one interesting question. In recent days, many IPOs are getting listed with losses also. Is there any malpractice in financial records to show high EPS profits? Uh, See, it happens that there are so many IPOs coming up, and probably there might be management who might do some fudging of the numbers. So from that perspective, it becomes very difficult for the retail investor to identify कि कौन से IPO में subscribe करना चाहिए. So that's where I told you that in that case you have to consult the experts like us. At Motilal Oswal we have a strong research team, so we understand the fundamentals of the companies of these IPOs जो नए companies आ रहे हैं, because we have analysts who typically talk to all these companies, to their promoters, to their CFOs, and various other people who are associated with the companies, and we try to understand the financials of the company. So हमें पता चलता है कि बॉस ये particular IPO में invest करना चाहिए या नहीं करना चाहिए. Now let's say last 2 महीनों में I think 15 से 20 IPOs आए होंगे, but we at Motilal Oswal had recommended only 4 to 5 IPOs to our investors. Why? Because अगर आज अगर मैं एक ब्रोकिंग बिजनेस में हूँ, मैं तो मेरे इन्वेस्टर्स को बोलूंगा सब IPOs में डाल दो, सब 20 IPO में डाल दो, आपको लगेगा और मेरे प्लेटफॉर्म पे आप बेचोगे तो मेरा तो रेवेन्यू जनरेट होने वाला है, ब्रोकरेज जनरेट होगा, बट वी डोंट डू सच थिंग्स. व्हाई? बिकॉज एट द एंड ऑफ द डे इट इज हार्ड एंड मनी ऑफ द इन्वेस्टर्स, राइट? अगर आईपीओ नीचे खुल रहा है, जो ये केस हुआ है लास्ट 2-3 IPOs 10%, 12% नीचे खुले हैं. Why? Because the market was not giving that premium to those companies. The financials are not very great, though the promoters or the companies might have come out with such numbers. But in this case, you have to consult the experts like Motilal Oswal, where we have a strong research team and we understand which numbers are true, which are not true, which are correct, which are not correct. And then only we will give our expert advice that boss, ये IPO में डालो, इसमें मत डालो. So that's where consulting becomes very very important. आप brokerage को बचाने के चक्कर में अगर आप किसी financial advice expert के पास नहीं जाओगे, so that is the biggest mistake which you are doing in your life, because at the end of the day you are playing with your own hard earned money. एक क्वेश्चन है, व्हाट इज द व्यू ऑन डिविडेंड स्टॉक्स? सो ऑब्वियसली यस, डिविडेंड स्टॉक्स सबको अच्छा लगता है. डिविडेंड, व्हेन यू आर बिल्डिंग अ गुड पोर्टफोलियो, you can identify such names also which give you good dividends. So companies like Infosys and many other IT companies, they come out, they typically declare good set of dividends on a year on year basis. So depending upon what you want to have in your portfolio, you can choose such stocks. So there are a couple of other questions which are actually not related with this particular presentation. People are asking about the market outlook and whether I can buy gold. This particular session is typically for the investment portfolio, how to build, etc. But still, since we belong to that particular space, I'll just give you a brief about the market. So definitely markets are slightly overvalued at this point in time. We have seen a phenomenal rally last 1.5 years, especially after large caps moving up by 120% and mid and small caps going up by more than 130, 150%. So, so at this point in time, it becomes very important that people understand that this particular phenomena will not continue forever. मतलब हर कोई स्टॉक जो इतना चला है, it cannot go up and up, because valuation will come into play and somewhere you will see some kind of profit booking happening. The FIs will sell, which has been the case for last 2-3 months, and some consolidation will happen into the market. But yes, from a longer term perspective, we are very, very bullish on India as an investment destination. And we feel that the growth which we have seen in last 10 years, we will see much, much higher growth in the next decade, in the next 10 years. So on that front, yes, definitely from a longer term perspective, we will see huge amount of money making happening in India. A lot of wealth will be generated. But yes, the whole thing is you have to have good quality names in your portfolio, good quality stocks in your portfolio. किसी ने कुछ टिप दे दिया और आपने ले लिया, ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए. क्वालिटी स्टॉक्स बाय करो. अगर आपको खुद को आता है स्टॉक सिलेक्शन, देन इट इज वेरी गुड. बट इफ यू रियली डोंट नो, देन प्लीज कंसल्ट brokers like us and get it done through the experts. So all in all, I would like to conclude that it becomes very important what you have in your portfolio, how you build a good portfolio, and overall what is the time frame you are looking at for your investments, because at the end of the day it is your hard-earned money, and you should not play with that. So that's all from my side. There are no further questions I can see, and I've tried to answer as many questions as possible. I mean, rather, all the questions. So thank you everyone for your patient listening. I hope this particular session was helpful to you. I had kept it very simple so that every investor, every participant can understand. Uh, Thank you very much once again. Thank you.
Thanks, Nirav, for your wonderful session and for replying to the queries of all our investors. This side Ankur from NSDL, and I was also able to get a lot of information from your side, which generally a lot of investors miss as well in the financial market. And the biggest challenge which comes is that they are emotional and attached to a particular stock, and then they do not come out of that stock, and it becomes an NPA later on.
Right.
So, and I also wanted to have my session, but because you were so engrossed and all of investors were so much asking the queries, so I thought that probably let the session go on, and the knowledge sharing was so wonderful that I also wanted to listen to you more and more. So I think because our time is now coming to an end, because the session was from 4 to 5, so I would thank you for your for sparing your time for this session and having this session done for NSDL and Motilal joint session. And we would also have another session maybe next month or ASAP, so that all the investors can gain knowledge from you and your team. And of course, if in case they want to connect to NSDL, they can connect to NSDL and Motilal Oswal. I hope you would have shared your numbers. I'll just share my screen presentation and give the numbers of NSDL for any grievance or any kind of an communication they want from NSDL. Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to present my details of NSDL, wherein you can actually connect to NSDL and SEBI. In case if you have some complaints, you can always go to SEBI's website, that is scores.gov.in. You can register there your complaint in case if you find that there is some financial fraud which has happened in the capital market with you against any market intermediary. You can always connect to NSDLs. You can write to NSDL for any grievance, that is relations@nsdl.co.in. For any information, you can seek information from NSDL at info@nsdl.co.in. These are the basic details wherein you will get all the help from the regulator as well as the depository, that is NSDL. And with this, I'll like to conclude this meeting formally. And thanks all of you for sparing your time for this session and connecting to the team and Nirav from Motilal Oswal and NSDL. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks, Nirav. Thanks all.
Bye-bye.